got Nuke being picked, I thought, my goodness, Heat are going to have to butt their ideas up, because the Nuke that we saw in the semifinals only a few hours ago against that X-Mad Lions was not the greatest, was it?
It wasn't, but they've had time to prepare, to rejig their ideas and to figure out how they're going to play the grand finals against Bad News Eagles, who will be on the CT start. Heat on the T side for their own map pick. Seeing whether they can burst into the upper bomb site initially. Pistol round sees the defuse and smoke on center. Utility for Afro and Buddy. This will be a set piece XE. The first smoke is thrown out. The second one also comes down, and the flashes will go in very early. Rig on at the closed vent corner. Flashed off, blinded against both him and the T side line. Sees several players, two of which dive down into the B site, and Lucky draws out first blood. Flatro extending out towards the lobby position. Gets Buddy on the return back to a 4 versus 4. Center's low. Exercise tagged. Bombs on site. It's got to get planted.
Oh, but it might not do. Jocko's actually appearing slightly further aggressive for a fight. They're slowing this whole round down. Afro's still got the lobby control. Exercise is getting some picks in from the vents. Now they've got versatility to actually go back to A or continue the presence down at B.
Yeah, they cut off the rotations, leaving Bad News Eagles down by a man with those kills coming in. Senna on 4 HP as well. Afro going to sit on the upper bomb site. Might get flanked in by the player in at mini or the lobby player as well. GXX going to catch him off guard, turns in the headshot 2-on-2, and the retake is on.
They've got that kill for Senna, but low HP. Exercise wants to take a fight in for the vents, and that's him to fight a couple.
And now Senna's got no chance of this one. 4 points of health, like I mentioned earlier, with only a smoke and a defuse kit. Even if he tries to get to the Ninja, which he can't because it's on the other side of the site, peeking in from double doors, peek out. Headshot on Jocko is landed. He's going to try his hand at this. Sees where Exercise is. This is risky. 1 bullet's all Exercise needs to get, and he'll land it indeed. With the peek forward, the pistol goes the way of Heat.
Beautiful stuff from Exercise, and this is definitely a player that I think in the past, outside of maybe this Invitational, we know is sort of the younger guy on the team, more consistent. He's starting to find more form since moving up with the entire team overall. Hasn't had the best of events so far, Jay, and I wonder, could this be the series where we really get to see Exercise in action?
That could well be the case. He certainly started things off on the right foot. 3 kills to his name, the AK in his hands for the follow-up break. Bad News Eagles, the Deagles in. Max 7 as well for Synopsis, trying to get up close and personal. The scout is on GXX. 1 player's already dived down the vents.
It's the outside play that Rigon's hoping for. One of these T's to cross over the diagonal smokes. Flatroot trying to keep an eye on Silo. Body is there, but has not been seen just yet.
He has now, finds Synopsis. Flatro and Rigon. I thought for a second Flatro was going to peek. Eventually, Afro catches him off guard. Headshot as the smoke started to fade. Vision gained, and a 5-on-2 ensues for Heat.
Already looking a bit cleaner than what we've seen previously. Heat dealing with the anti-eco pretty effectively. Even pressure being applied to center now from the back of the lower bomb side. You can't imagine he'll find much. 1 kill, drop that bomb. But anything after this point is just going to be a miracle.
Yeah, bullet hell raining into the wall bangs. Of course, that bomb being dropped does give GXX a chance to rotate and provide a little bit of support. And the T's aren't acting to center here. Catches more tag damage onto Exercise. Sees where Lucky is, almost gets him to drop. But with the kill being found by Exercise, center's fallen and GXX has no chance.
This may be B&E's first legit grand final. So far this year, they've made the grand final in only an ESEA Cash Cup and a closed qualifier, Jace. This is going to be a real test for them in this best of 3.
Be a fun one at that, and obviously with so much at stake, the Elisa Master spot, of course, on the line, which is ultimately what these 2 teams are playing for the most. And kind of the $50,000 prize pool. That spot at LAN in November, that's what they really want. And for Heat, they're on the right front foot. 2-0 on the start here for the T-side line on their own map pick. Not trying to look for the hunt against GXX. Try to take him down with this Galil. Afro won't be losing much if he loses this weapon. Molotov sent in as GXX will be forced back here. I think he stays alive here, though. Yeah, Afro goes.
And we've seen that for B&E, when it comes to Nuke, it's actually the least played map in the pool from them. You've obviously got the Instaban of Overpass, which has no officials on. But for Nuke, 2 wins, 4 losses, 6 maps in the last 3 months. An opportunity for Heat to start really offering up the full potential in a day like this. And knowing that for B&E, they don't have that many upgrades to work with come in the 3rd round, this could be a very good starter for the Frenchmen to get their 3-0.
Basic pistols in for round 3 should be easy enough. Heat have the early control. think about this Zeus and Synopsy can do anything right here. Just sat back over at the hut entrance, waiting for someone to round the corner. Nobody will do, though. They're going to wait for him to peek.
Nice to see two of the invited teams into the quarterfinal make their way into the grand final, because that doesn't normally tend to happen, does it, Jay?
Yeah, and a number of upsets usually happen during the playoffs. There's always at least one Swiss team.
Maybe not always the first round, but definitely the main Swiss. You often get a few, at least attempting at the semi-finals to the grand final, for sure.
Have we ever had like an open qualifier team go from qualifier to grand finals?
No, I don't think it's gone quite that far. I think Lingby were invited into the regional Swiss and they got to the semi-finals a couple of invitationals ago. That's the furthest, I think.
Yeah, that was before they were really like a thing, wasn't it? Like before they really had their rise to the fame. Well, either way, HEET and Bad News Eagles not in that position at this moment. Find that one frag on body, but the two come back on GXX and Center. Of course, I've opened up the B bomb site, so there should be a bomb plant to be secured. Not much that they can do to resist it. Maybe grab that rifle from the outside control, catch Exercise in the back of the head, and Flatro almost got it. Exercise turns his head quickly back to the headshot and regains control.
And now Exercise has just got so deep out to the double doors, it's going to be so much more difficult to manage this AK into a legitimate fight and force him into the open. So I can't really see a way that Rigon will have a chance of holding on to an AK. HEET diving down to that lower bomb site and finding pretty much free range. Synopsys is going to hope to catch someone getting up towards that ramp control, but it doesn't seem like it's going to happen.
Rigon holds on to the Galil that was dropped outside at least. It's a small something, but I don't think it means much here. The Deagle and Synopsy won't get any further exits. No AKs dropped, no AKs saved. Not for the CT side at least. It's through to 3 now to the board of the HEET camp. 0 on the board for Bad News Eagles. And this is a solid start. Already far better than what we saw earlier in the last series.
And it's incredible to think that the last head-to-head between these two was over 8 months ago. Both teams have obviously found different orgs. It was the Double Pony guys going over to HEET. It was the Blink guys going over to Bad News Eagles. But yet the 5-man rosters, Jay, have stayed exactly the same. No roster changes in 8 months since the last head-to-head.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it, I guess. HEET were onto something back then, especially, and Bad News Eagles, I don't think they've hit the peak of their performances. Pass play in from the T side line, getting out towards the A side. The Mac 10 body almost gets Synopsy. Rigon's going to burn on the backside. Synopsy's also very low. Fracture taking damage. Sprays through onto Lucky, dishing out some back for the CT forces. They are driven out of the side.
Getting some real discipline on some of these top side players from HEET. Try and work with the clock ever so slightly, spam through that main position. They haven't got the bomb down from Exercise just yet. I think they want to fight the rotates first.
Looking up just in case. Re-smokes on for Jocko. They're trying to block them out of mini. Flashes also come forward as that bomb will get planted. Nade attempt will do some damage to Exercise. Afro, meanwhile, going for the backstab attempt.
Exercise being able to deal with Synopsy. This is the round pretty much finished. Afro might just cut off the saving players.
Didn't see Senna, sees the shadow of that one man though. GXX dead, 2 left, swing the outside, see Flatro. Senna can get a responsive at least. But no way they go for the retake, not with the timer being as low as it is, not without the defuse kit, not with Flatro being at 4 points of health. We'll get some exits and try and make it expensive for HEET, which is going to be as successful as they can get it. Tries if they can hunt that last man down though, and Exercise gets his kill, looks back towards CT. Senna to save the AWP, and he should be able to do that.
Exercise averages a 0.96 rating in the last 3 months of Nuke. We saw up against the last matchup of Sinners, he was towards the tail end of the board when it came to the kills, being the lowest fragger. But right now, he is putting on a good show. A lot of entries being found towards that topside play. And already, this is looking miles better than what we saw from X-Madline. Whether that's just the sample size that we've only seen 4 rounds and that we do need to see more in this first half, it does look very positive from the Frenchman.
Well, even the eye test to me says that they look far more composed, far more coordinated, not making nearly as many mistakes as that X-Madline series. Swag 7 in for Synopsy. We'll try to see if we can force the issue out on the Bad News Eagles side. HEET have already gained 4 out of the 7 that they had in the last map they played this Nuke. Synopsy and Flatro will be able to get 2 kills to return though, so not quite as easy for the Frenchman here.
Not at all. You've got that Swag 7 going very aggressive in Hut. Flatru just spams through that squeak door, and they get a 5-on-3. They're able to pick up some weapons. They've got full lobby control. This is really going to test HEET now on the outside to see if they can recover around like this.
Minute and 10. Smokes get set up towards the cross of red box. Not quite with the backup smoke. The second one does come in the end. No one's going to contest that outside position. There is a gap there to work with at the edge of secret. AWP boost could come through. Body could also swing, but Rigon's got him covered out from the garage. AWP Afro in position, going to try fire back. Synopsy tanks the damage, but ultimately he doesn't get killed off. GXX's orb can strike out the secret. Afro up close, trying to bait the man out. He knows exactly where he is and gets that quick scope somehow. Switches to the other AWP, but 18 HP for him. Up against Synopsy, the quick scope does not land on the second man. And Bad News Eagles will find their first.
Very good effort there from B&E on the eco to get as much out of that as possible. And funny enough, Jay, now that we've got so many variations of the outside smokes, you've got the diagonal cross, the L smoke, we don't often see the traditional 2 from T-Red. And what that means is that in certain situations, like what HEET found themselves in, you might actually forget the smoke. You might actually just have that flip of the radar and realize that it's not quite where you thought it was. And that's where that massive gap at exploitation was punished.
HEET with a buyback immediately into round 6. Have plenty of cash from the 4 rounds in a row they gained. Not quite as much of the savings anymore, so the economy has taken a hit for it. Synopsy gets lucky as he takes the early hit in the round.
Body trying to see if he can work outside. AWP has fired away onto Afro. They're looking to try and see if they can drop the trade.
5 on 3 is still established. Oh, and GXX supports Synopsy, gets the kill. Flatro also caught off the edge of the smoke. Jocko makes a double happen, in fact. So reduced to 3 players on the Bad News Eagles side, but still only 2 for HEET. They still play from the back foot here.
The problem is, how does the bomb get out of here? And even Jocko's been caught. That was the whole identity of that 2v3 is, what does Exercise do? Wait for an overpeak? Jeez, what a shot coming through from Rigon too. Finding a couple, and even for him, I thought we had an okay performance from Rigon up against HEET, or I should say, up against the side of Sinners just before. Like, it was okay, it was nothing special. But we have seen that specialty in the past, and this is, again, sort of drawing that whole factor. Now it's a grand final. Now we can see Rigon really firing on all cylinders.
Stepping up to the play. He was down in the frag counts. Now he's gotten close towards the top frags that Synopsy and GXX are sharing that. HEET. Only pistols to contest against these star individuals. Bad News Eagles coming into their own in the last 2 rounds. Very unorthodox strategies as well with the aggressive plays. Now the pistols pulled out, should be dealt with on the rifle basis. The nade out from center is thrown to the moon and will not do much for it, but GXX is there with the AWP, so he doesn't have to worry too much about it. Synopsy also pushing in towards lobby. Will lose his life after 2 frags back, but lucky in a 1-on-4 clutch.
Can't imagine much more is going to present itself from this point onwards. The only way that it does is if B&E get really hungry and start fighting up from that ladder control, which is exactly what Rigon's going to do. Lucky on the other side is just going to get domed, so another kill coming through from Rigon. Overall, on the eco, they get away with 1, don't really get close towards a bomb site, so no chance of a bomb plant overall. And this lead that HEET have got doesn't really settle by much. It's just 1 at the moment.
After the confident 4 that they gained in a row to start off the series, or start off the map. Reduced to a single round deficit with the guns in to try and stop Bad News Eagles from getting control. HEET want to avoid that last map as much as possible. And they've found their confident form. Look at that charge forward on Synopsy. CT is taking sheer aggression into the fold, and they're going to work out for it. 2 for 1, 3 for 1, the 4 for 1 trades. And Synopsy doubles up the same. Afro caught through the smoke. That is decimating from the Kosovonians.
This is the B&E that we know and that we love. A proper lobby crunch after they've just won 3 rounds in a row. They are fighting everywhere. Hut, Squeak Door, Ramp, they are charging forward. And the lineups come through. What an excellent round out from B&E. And you've got to imagine that's just going to wreck the mental. That's what they're trying to target on the CT side.
4 apiece. HEET started off wonderfully, now reduced to pistols again. Bad News Eagles in full control to take 5 in a row and regain the lead for it. HEET, this is not the start that they were biting for. Causing the T-side half, they're still keeping it close. But I think it could have been up by like 6-0, 7-0 on that T-side line, considering the eco buy status. And those Eagles have really brought things back from what could have been a very dangerous position. Flatro going to catch off Afro, kick things off on the right foot.
Even Body trying to see if he can cut the rotates, but it's coming through from Ramp. It's very fast into the matter. Senna does get forced out to the open. Flatro drops the bomb. This could waste some time.
It's out in the open as well. Jocko and Lucky peek forward, get their 2, 3-on-2 for the Heat side as they regain control of the rifles and the man advantage. The AWP still being pressured as they fight on harder to try and find the frags, but now Rigon is repositioned to the backside with the bomb in his sights and Dominion over the site itself. Rotating away in all. No info on where both of the T-side players are at, but that second smoke will reveal it. Peeking in from observation, but Jocko wins the fight. The AK is not good enough for Rigon. A triple for Jocko, and Heat hold the lead.
That's a very good response indeed. Very quick down to that lower bomb site. And while it seemed as if the information was there for B&E, that they had the rotates fast, that they had the opening pick, Senna just gets denied of any opportunity of fighting down. And then the aggressive approaches from the last couple of T-side players towards the ramp entrance. Jocko really coming into his own, picking up that M4. And Heat are actually going to take a tactical off of the back of that round.
It's because they weren't expecting it to come through. Maybe they called it in earlier. Count for the rifle bases, which they will have, and their main opportunity to break the Bad News Eagles economy will be here. So it makes sense from a certain position, a certain angle. Obviously, Bad News Eagles will take that time to discuss things through of their own accord. The guns are in for them, including the AWP for GXX, and he was a monstrous individual in that last semi-final, Dweg, so keep your eyes on him to see what he can do with the big green.
Just knowing 51 kills, 34 deaths, positive 17, and a 1.38 rating against Sinners. One of the top fraggers in the finest game too in the quarterfinals. Expect some good stuff from him. For Heat, how long can they hold on to their lead? Another aggressive outside play, actually.
Synopsy up top of Hut, looking over the smokes into the squeaky door. Flatro, the M4 set as the nades come over. Damage will not be done. A follow-up HE will tag down to 99 on Lucky's part. Lean up and over onto the Hut position, but just not see any presence at all.
Even that smoke going down leaves a body block. And Flatroo and Body, this is just a waiting game on who's going to overextend first. And actually that spam towards Squeak Door means that Lucky's going to drop.
Synopsy with the opening, Body checking around the corner, but looked away at the wrong moment. Only barely registered the shoulder as he took back to the other side. And Flatro can follow suit with another good kill. Afro does find a trade on Synopsy at last, though. A 4-on-3 still favors B&E.
They keep pushing outside. Flatroo's going to start wrapping around, get behind in. This could actually drop the bomb. Afro's got to be aware that this is a potential backstab play, knowing that Body dropped outside.
Walks continue, the incendiaries from Rigon as well. The smokes extinguishing the flames as Flatro makes his way all the way around at the top of the roof. Rigon with another great kill on exercise. Senna gets Jocko through the wall bang. And they don't even need the backstab. He'll drop in anyway to get the kill and secure the 5th for B&E right back into this game.
This is such an unorthodox nuke CT side that we're seeing right now from B&E. Even in the fact that it's a 5-on-3, you've still got Synopsy slow walking through that squeak door. And I wonder whether Heat just decide to slow it right down, to just take this entire T-side down to the slowest of margins and just wait for those overpeaks. Because as of right now, B&E, ever since that early streak got found from Heat, we're starting to see them really find control.
Smokes in, flashes over Jocko, quick into the side, sees Synopsy exercise, combines alongside him, and Jocko through the smoke, lands on Rigon. Fast pace from Heat, immediately overwhelming the Bad News Eagles here. The money's got to be considered on this retake basis. The half by force invest for Heat has worked out in troves.
Fighting fire with fire, rather than slow it down, they pace it up. Flatroo is waiting for that smoke to clear, give himself a way back in, but how does he deal with Lucky?
GXX with the kill, swing out with a Tech 9, a frag on, leaving GXX instead of the last 2 individuals. Just got to save here, no choice in the matter.
Beautiful acceleration coming through from Heat, and you just saw Exercise getting that entry, Jocko too spamming towards the main position. And keep in mind what happened last time Heat were in the grand finals, Jay. They took on Skade, and they got absolutely pumped. In both the quarterfinal and semi-final game, there was a lot of success, a lot of positivity from Heat, but they got into the grand finals, and they got 16-8, 16-8 on Overpass and Dust 2. Now, obviously, the veto is very different this time around, but they're looking to respond. They're looking for revenge last time that they were here.
Lead gained by Heat once again, fighting valiantly to defend it. AKs on 3, 2 M4s out with the save of Heat to bolster the economy game just a little bit with the save weapons. Might limit the firepower basis. AWP in, however, for the CT side. The M4's out. The quick plays in for Rigon, the first man forward and aggressive. Checking out the back of Silo. Afro will be spotted soon. He gets back inside, and that's the right moment to make it. Away from the utility as they try and go for the upper take here. Synopsy, only player out. GXX caught in the middle of the smoke. Synopsy gets two. The body gets it right back. One player center of the site. Flatro doing all that he can to get a frag. Evaded. Lucky though. Dives in against him. Just barely spotted the man. Afro now alone in the clutch in a 1 versus 3 situation. Surrounded from all CTs on all sides. Gets center at least. But has 2 more to go. And they're both going to peek in so quick as well. Rigon gets the frag.
He just can't get settled. This is another round where B&E, not only did they go aggressive outside, but you just continue it all the way on the wraparound. And it puts so much more pressure on those top site defenders to stall for time, to multi-frag up, because the last thing you want is the site to get overwhelmed and Rigon's backstab to be too late. We saw the way that Synopsy out in heaven with the M4A1S is doing lights work of a couple of kills, and then the bomb gets dropped out to the open, and Rigon and Co finally swing from the hut control to get it 6-all.
Molotov sent in towards the common rush positions from the Bad News Eagles camp. Body with the Galil leaning up and over, spotting, spraying down GXX, bursting through to get the kill. Gaps in that smoke. I'm not sure if that was a misthrown one there from the T side or whether the CTs threw that down. Either way, they're going to somehow find the only position in which the Bad News Eagles cannot see them. Exercise will get caught through the smoke though, so it's still a 4-on-4.
After Body worked so hard for that opening man advantage, Flat Rouge going to clear the outside. He might spot Body behind the back of T-Red. They're leaving Lucky out in lobby 2. This could be a slow round for HEET. Really run the clock.
"60 seconds and the walk continues. Center. The Rafter's going to wait down to the B site. But there is no prod from HEET. They've slowed this one to a crawl.
They're waiting for one of those over-aggressive fights. Even Body towards outside, looking at lockers, looking at main, looking at heaven, seeing nothing. Jocko catches Synopsy off guard. That's nade out.
Advantage back for the Frenchman. Afro thinks about the rotate upstairs through the vent control. Flatro making his way around and all. I'm in the back of Afro. Better check this, and that's exactly what he does. Reducing B&E to 2. Senna's got to time his strike so perfectly. Out towards the window, Jocko will drop. A flashbang and gets him blind. Body will fall though. Afro with a trade on Rigon, and that sends him up to the A sites.
I think Senna's got a save here. Knowing that the position's gone up with the bomb towards A, it's super difficult for him to get any more in this round. They know where he is. He's low on HP. This should be HEET up to 7.
Keeping control of that 1M4, dragging it into the 14th round. Bad News Eagles with not a lot of cash though. Not in the savings at least. Loss bonus hasn't really built up either. Very difficult buyback to justify for me.
And this is what I expected HEET to do more so in the first half, to be honest. So Senna trying to get over to that AWP from GXX's point of view, but not to be being watched out from HEET, anticipating that that could be the move. And we're just seeing how slow that round really came through, and it comes to, what, the nade out from Synopsy down to that lower bomb side. He gets caught out into the open, and then, of course, you just wait even further. The backstab in from Flatro. Afro was jiggling angle from Vent.
Great effort from center as well to defend that B site. If only his teammate held on an upper. Maybe it could have been a Bad News Eagles round as it stands, though. Yeah, I'm going to force the issue into round 14, leaving a force for round 15 the same. SMG and AWP. The Eagles and 5-7s. Another fast XE coming in from the HEET side as well. Molotov sent down to the back of the site. Synopsy peeking into Body. But the MAC-10 doesn't get the frag, and they don't push forward or for it.
They're thinking about it, waiting for a timing. Synopsy's going to put some pressure on. Jocko's holding for the moment.
Push back for the time being. The AK turning away. Lean forward towards that ramp position. Inside a trophy, Jocko will check, but not see anything for now.
Might be the boost up for Afro. Rigon has decided to go for the glass cannon AWP on the expense. How does he fight up against Afro?
Quick jiggle to force him off position. Rigon bites back, falls back. Afro repositioning towards the squeaky door. Watching Mini and watching close vent. But still not spotting anything here at the CT side. Senna might go up the ghost. The shot rings out, but it does not connect here.
It's a good jiggle, a lot of information, and there's still plenty of CTs trying to defend this top side.
Well, finally, Exercise forces the issue. The two pistols on the site itself, though, do get their picks back to return. GXX domes in Afro and tries to aggress back in against Lucky. Recovers that orb and lands his shot, leaving it all to Jocko in the 1-on-4. Rifles picked up by the CT side. The pistols have done their work, and they keep things as dead even as you want. 7 all.
Absolute madness with how these rounds are played out from B&E's perspective. But we talk about the even playing field, the 7-7, and that's only got to benefit Heat, right? The idea that you're getting closer, more success on the T side. I know that they had some CT struggles when it came to their last game in that semi-final against X-Mad Lions, but it looks to be a different Heat. I don't think those struggles will be there again the same.
You're going to think about how well that CT side went in the early semi-final, though, Dwayne. You have to cast a little bit of doubt as to whether this really does favour Heat. We can only find out in the second half itself. Fast plays in from them as they try to overwhelm on round 15. Rigon will get caught off guard by the Tech 9 rush. Jocko credited with the kill. Body tanks some damage. Senna tries to fight on, but might get forced back. Actually, that naked extra body, so brings it into an even standing again.
Rotates down to the lower bomb side, been pretty quick. Synopsy and Flatroot trying to play out for the observation windows.
And then Synopsys killed. Flatro forced to put a smoke down. Afro swings with Lucky's AK, catching onto the likes of Synopsy the same. Smoke up, the bomb should get planted.
Gonna tap it, try and draw some further fights. GXX is not making a lot of noise in the vents. He's got to single door now.
Completely closed up with a smoke for good measure. We'll open up the door, look to the backside, and know that nobody is there. Tight angle against Afro past that smoke. Jump face will force him off. Reposition for the flick. Domes him in. Senna now making his moves up in from double doors. Not spotted by the players that are after us just yet. He didn't see him still. Jocko with the kill. And now 2 to get. Line up. Burst fire onto the wrong man. Lucky can get the trade. And he can maintain the half at 8-7.
What's incredible to think is we went back and forth for 8 rounds in a row there, Jay. Individual rounds from both the T side and the City side. For 8 rounds. That is unheard of on Nuke.
I think as well, 2 similar 4-round streaks coming in at the start and follow-up rounds. This is a really close match, and I'm happy with how things have played out today, specifically in the second semi-final in this one. Bad News Eagles definitely bringing the thunder. The Heat bringing the fire. So whether they can extinguish those flames on the Bad News Eagles side. You mentioned before that T-half plays into the favour of the Frenchman. Let's find out whether that's really the case. USPs and Glocks pulled out for the pistol, and Bad News Eagles make no qualms about the ramp take. Jocko spots them and gets domed in immediately.
It's very quick, very fast indeed, and for Body, he just needs 1.
Gets Synopsy, swings back to look for 2, can't quite do so. A 4-on-3, advantage for B&E. Exercise will be suppressed, and Afro will see the Molotovs coming into his position. Flatro taking some damage to Rigon in the back. Opening up double doors, seeing Senna, headshot gain, Flatro trades, Lucky responds, Exercise charges to the site and also gets overwhelmed. Lucky left alone, 1-on-2, seeing Rigon, knows where GXX is, needs that headshot, but the drive-bys don't connect. A triple for GXX, and a pistol gain by BNE.
Just send it. Super hyper aggression down there towards the ramp take. And it's the fact that you deal with Jocko on that initial site play, even GXX down to the bomb side directly, got out to the double doors, Flatroot getting into the mix, and GXX just consistently standing up. And it's great to see that not only has he had a very good playoff run, but even on an opposition map pick, he's top fragging in the server.
Force invest for Heat now, inbound for round 17. Bad News Eagles. Fucking ones within their position right now. Scout set for Afro will just wait, hold for contact, hope that someone gives up a frag.
That's damage. That's at least a start, but it's another com of contact out towards that ramp room. Body trying his best to put some damage on, but they might try and force him back.
Little pressing, Body caught. Damage being done. Senna with the Mac 10 gets his frag. Stops to follow suit on towards Lucky. Flatro gets Afro. Exercise with 1 Deagle back. Gets that second to drop the bomb, but is overwhelmed by Rigon on the flank. Jocko left alone. 1 Deagle shots are connecting still. Heat have their own in this round, it seems. Flatro also being seen, but not dead yet. Holding their position, spray through towards a 1 versus 1. Jocko with the AK in his hands, hunting for GXX as he peeks in, but GXX will win that fight, get the teammates, extend his top 5 position, and bring Bad News Eagles into the lead.
And we could probably start making a claim that B&E are just the gods in clutches. We saw that so often in the Sinner series. And knowing that they start leading with some of that util ADR, that could be very important. Think about some of the nade stack potentials, the molly to the top of the heart, some of the HE stacks that go down to the default position. We often saw a lot of HE stacks from a Sonic, actually, when I think back to the quarterfinal game with HEET.
Looking to suffer for it. Another force invest for the CT forces as well. GXX already finds Afro. This will throw the economy off quite significantly here for the CT line, unless they get the round itself. Body's been tagged though. Mac 10 in for Flatro. Gets lucky to drop. Exercise the swing as well. We'll be able to respond at least. But a 4-on-3 still favors the T's.
I'm very surprised about this force-up. I guess they know it went down to a clutch in the last round of a 1v1, so that's why they want to try and break the economy. But it's the pace again, so fast from B&E towards outside, and he just can't deal with it. It was a super unorthodox force, and they paid the price for not winning it.
Yeah, but he just left to hold on to the head Kevlar's. No choice in the matter. Certainly won't win the clutch here at 23 HP. Holds back here at the secret control with no T-side players about to face him, but it does feel like B&E want to go for the hunt.
Just knowing what Body can find out of this one, whether it's a safety in AK, if they do decide to go for that aggressive approach, seems like they're starting to work outside, but probably won't end up getting to him. 10 on the board for B&E. And there are similarities with the T-side defaults to what we saw with XMAD Lions, where it's very individual. It's maybe, I would say this is a lot quicker than what we saw from XMAD Lions, but there are characteristics that share the same.
Again, that CT half was pretty poor. HEET yet to get started in this half. Good shot for Synopsy, well done. Part of many frags that brought it the way of the Bad News Eagles. Tactical taken by HEET here. Second in this map up. Discuss how they're going to approach things further on. There's probably going to be an eco here in this round. Then look towards the guns the next and fight from there.
And just the story with both of these teams, knowing that B&E were up 13-7 on Vertigo, failed to close out versus Finest on map 1. They were also down 10-11 on Mirage, and then Rigon had that massive 3K with the Deagle towards top mid. They then got every round after that, and it really looked as if Finest probably could have 2-0'd in that game in the quarterfinals. Instead, B&E went to a third, and we all know how that went down, quite one-sided on Inferno, the next map up next. And then even for HEET, when we think about their Masonic game, they were down 12-15 on a third map decider in the quarterfinals too.
Quick in for Synopsy with a dive down the vents. Minimal buy here for HEET in this one. I've got one player placed towards outside, Bonnie in the middle of the smoke. Rigon doesn't see him thus far and won't see him yet. The smoke getting between the two individuals. Bonnie will hide and wait for the tease. The prod gets GXX. Rigon with a quick trade.
Afro wants to try and send it towards Garage, put pressure down onto this AK. They want to try and see if they could drop Rigon.
As I set a blue and credit card. Smoke down across the initial cross towards red box. Second center. And the second one to ensure that they can cross safely or just go for it completely dry. Seems to be the case.
Very silent here for B&E, down to that lower site take, regrouping up with the MP9 that dropped in the vents earlier in the round. And for Jocko, the king of the dig, let's see what he makes out of it. Synopsy does fall on the lurk towards top site.
Buck shot with a mag 7. That one element. Now Jocko's got a lot of work to do here against Rigon. Seeing the windows get popped open, get his head shot back. Now aware of the last two T-side players. Flatro in from Decon. Senna also at window itself. Lucky will find the fight that does some damage, but takes a lot more back in turn. The nades probably finish off the job against him. The Deagle continuing to fight as Senna overwhelms Jocko. Bomb on site should get planted here.
Out towards a single door, there could be an aggressive play. Exercise is thinking about trying to deny the bomb, but the shotgun's just not quite doing the trick. Finally it does, and Senna's the last one.
Up against 3, exercises USP, does his damage with Afro's assistance, and he can claim the steal.
What a round that is, and how important that is for the CT side too, to answer back in a round that you shouldn't win. 3 AKs being picked up. B&E will not be happy about that because they had the lower side take. They're walking down. There's only really Jocko to defend. Lucky's playing out to ramp, but he's got only a USP. It's not much. It's probably the fact that the lurk at lobby gets cancelled by Exercise, and that is the difference maker in the rounds.
Mag 7 came up with this impact as well. USP even pulled out for Exercise in general. Well placed for him. Unfortunately, he couldn't deny the bomb plant, so there should be a money bonus for Bad News Eagles in this one. A tap so effective. And yes, there will be guns in, including the AWP back for GXX once again. Big green in his hands, but I remember more rifle plays from him so far.
You definitely imagine it. And in the last head-to-head, we saw a lower bracket final in ACA Premier Season 38. And it was Blink at the time eliminating the French out of the tournament. And now, while it's not quite a lower bracket final, it is still an elimination and promotion game here, Jay. To get the call up to LAN, or to go out in second place. And knowing that HEET have been in this position before, knowing that they've played the last 4 illicit invitationals, didn't make the playoffs of the one in spring, made the playoff round 1 in summer, playoff round 1 again in fall, go all the way to the end up against Skade, but don't come through when it matters the most. Now you're up against a B&E side where you've got history.
Chance to rewrite their history. Very early doors in this matchup, but as you mentioned, a very important one. Grand finals of the Elisa Invitational. And one that will set you up on a pathway to LAN. And a LAN as well that could get you into Katowice. That's another thing, part of the ESL Pro Tour. All sorts of pressure on these two squads in what is only just a step on the journey. But the important first step at that. AK's out against the M4s. Jocko's seen contact smoke down. Spray through, does damage, but no kill.
Even the NWP needs to try to adjust. Good shot coming through from Afro. They want to charge him down. They're putting so much pressure, but now they back off. It could be an AWP duel, actually.
Might face him, jump face instead. Doesn't bait out the shot for GXX. I think Afro may have seen him though. Falls back, exercise on the center of the A site, gets an opportunity, peeks out, regains the advantage for HEET. And now the onus is on Body here by double doors. Where does he go? Back into observation, smoked off from double doors, so we should see the bomb going down at that position. GXX spotted and bursted onto. No kill found, double is again open. Plant down towards Old Toxic, does not connect any damage.
GXX is still alive. We know how much damage you can do on the post plant, and for HEET, there is so much util. They can slow this right down.
Audio is getting up close and personal. 2 to line up, only gets 1 in the back. Body with a trade, maintaining the advantage for HEET here. Bad News Eagles, 2 players on rafters. Now the wall bangs are being attempted here. The AWP of Afro, desperate to find Senna, desperate to find Flash Row. Exercise, swings and sees one. Senna with a kill, but Body and Afro get those picks in. Will find the defuse and find the 10th for HEET.
What a retake coming through from HEET, just jiggle peeking around, putting pressure on the AWP at GXX that went quite aggressive in the observation window, only gets away with 1 in that sort of circumstance. And then just when you think as if they've siphoned off the 2v2, they've dealt with Exercise that's opening up the double doors. Instead, it's still Body and Afro to work together. 10 to 10, B&E. You got to keep in mind, they even got a bomb plant in that last round, but it's still not enough to get a buy together.
Tech 9s and Deagles will be the extent of the firepower for B&E here. HEET in the AWP up towards the top of the garage, almost caught Synopsy. Missed his chance. Incendiary is back out towards the secret position. We'll try to dish out some damage. He got the tag earlier at least. But he is downstairs and has to be accounted for.
Jocko's got to be careful about getting swung early against Ramp. Fighter is trying to go just by himself. This Tech 9's doing some decent damage, but eventually he's going to drop.
Yeah, 5-on-3 situation. Nades up against the Molotov players. Center down low and now dead. Rigon and GXX to geek into the one taps. Jocko had no ammo left in the magazine. The USP still good enough though for the Quadra. And for the 11th, HEET regain the lead on CT side. Bouncing back from Bad News Eagles, own bounce back. How the gun's going to come through for the tees.
Jocko's really impressed me in this map. And knowing that he's actually statistically the lowest ranked player on the entire HEET side in Nuke in the last 3 months, it is incredible to see this sort of performance from him. Typically averages a 0.92 rating on Nuke, and he's top fracking in the server. He's beaten the likes of GXX these last few rounds.
You look at that likes of Afro or Body and what they were doing in the semi-finals as those being the guys to beat GXX, but no. Jocko has really come into his own right here. Closing the doors on the T side line, both literally and figuratively in this match. Bad News Eagles play towards outside instead.
Very silent from Rigon, not making any noise on the cross. Smoke starting to clear. Ooh, I don't know if the Heaven player, he might have spotted a glimpse actually there of Exercise.
believe Body may have also heard the footsteps. Depends on how far away he was. I don't know if he was in that back corner when the footsteps were made. Either way, Rigon had no choice but to charge up there, because had he stuck around, he would have gotten caught off. He probably could have been fragged out, and that was the thing he was trying to evade.
Now for BNE, they've got a lot of lobby control as of right now. Top hut molly being lined up for Synopsy. Could actually just be the top site play or a vent drop if they want to regroup with Rigon.
Molotov sent in, Synopsy inside. We're going to go with the upper hit. And the lobby control being maintained by Bad News Eagles. Exercise in the rafters alongside Lucky. A smoke down to suppress one entrance. And they'll go for the vent dive instead. Jocko's ready for it. Gets 2 picks. Drops it to a 5-on-3. Swing out towards Rigon. Rigon can find the trade. And the B side can get opened up for it. The bomb barely crosses. Barely gets down there. Exercise waiting on Synopsy, who also gets overwhelmed. A 4-on-2. Making it one with Afro's AWP pick. And Rigon left to clutch it all with 20 seconds on the clock and everything.
Just not going to happen. The best that he could do is try and keep it expensive. Get back over to that bomb. But you just realize how quick the CTs are going to be to rotate. And that entire round felt as if HEET just had complete control. They had the information that Rigon was down there towards lower at some degree over to secret. And then for Jocko, he is in the perfect position to stop that vent drop. And anytime you're diving into the vents and there's a CT already there, how do you even get that fight? You've got to try and sandwich him forward with Rigon. But because Rigon was so far further back, there's nothing they can do on the early attack.
HEET piling on the pressure. Bad News Eagles back to pistols once again. Smokes on against their initial contact. HEET's in full control here, looking for number 13. Be a deadly number to the BNE campaign.
Another topside play, here we go.
Flash in, Lucky catches GXX, dives in against 2. That's a bad mistake. Exercise on the back of the side though, and he also gets overwhelmed. Body providing support in for Mini, only getting 1 kill for it. A 3-on-2 for the T side. The AWP, however, has an off angle, and Flatro peeks right into it. Meanwhile, Jocko makes his way up, and Rigon will fall center with the bomb plant now down at the back side, open for heaven. Swing towards the AWP's position, can't see him. Not yet, at least. We'll creep closer and closer. Look for Jocko instead.
We know how good Senna is in the clutches. Jocko's the first fight that needs to be landed, and there it is.
Info for the AWP, though. Senna has no idea. Self-tucked away in the corner. There is a smoke and a flashbang that Afro can utilize. He just creeps in closer, trying to look for the quick shot. Baited, but Senna can't connect the kill. Afro doesn't miss his kill. Gets the frag, gets the round for HEET.
And just when you thought it was going to be the reverse steal, that we had the steal a few rounds ago from HEET on the Eco, now it's going to be one for BNE. They do so well with the initial entries, just really crunching down, giving themselves a man advantage, maybe get a little bit too aggressive. I think they actually wanted to vent drop, Jay, because you could see the way that both players with the bomb was trying to lean towards that vent control, and as soon as that AWP finds the connection from Afro, you cancel. Go back towards top side, get the bomb down. Senna doing his absolute best in the clutch, but just not quite coming through. And now this streak has turned into 5 in a row from HEET.
AWP's in for GXX and Afro. Afro caught first and foremost. Trying to get towards the outside aggressive play. Bad News Eagles can strike first this time. Disallow HEET the man advantage early. Follow suit on Jocko as well. 5-on-3 is gained. Exercise holding, but Lucky and Body just clap back again.
Well, this bomb could get dropped right out to the open. It does go into the hands of Senna at least, but Exercise looking to try and double up, and that's exactly what he does. That was a 5-on-3 advantage over for the BNE side, and we saw mistakes like this from HEET on Nuke, not BNE.
Overwhelming. The Frenchmen are looking good. Bad News Eagles. They have their wings clipped still. Synopsy in a 1 versus 3. Trying to press, sees Body. Gets that kill. That's 1. Flashbang also comes into the lobby position. The smoke down to suppress at least a part of his angle. The concern will be Exercised though. He's in the open.
Thinks he's getting wrapped from that main position to go back in towards A. Instead, this crossfire is very solid. And even Lucky's got a smoke later into the round to try and stall. And yep, that's exactly what it does. Out towards Squeak Door.
Now they know where he is. Reposition for Lucky as well to get an even better angle. The nade goes nowhere close to the CT side. Lucky and Exercise will have their eyes on. Might account for the potential wrap-in from Hut, which if Synopsy goes there, might be enough to break the crossfire. Lucky is also exposed as the smoke clears. Synopsy or Utim, the Molotov sent back towards Trophy. He was so desperate to try and force a player out from that ramp entrance. It didn't happen though. It's not where the CTs were. 14 on the board of Heat. 2 more to go to the map win. Bad News Eagles back on the guns. Need to turn this round around.
And that's got to be very frustrating because B&E worked so hard for the opening AWP pick with GXX. And then what was it? We had the other guy of center that was playing into Trophy, dealt with Jocko at ramp. That's a 5-on-3. You got ramp opened up. And instead, Exercise just peers slightly aggressively towards Hut, multi-frags and drops the bomb in the open.
No AWPs in this round here for the Bad News Eagles. Of course, Heat have theirs on Afro, already firing back against them. Smokes towards the cross, gap in it. Sees the one man before the flash even goes out for GXX. Afro can land against him. Counter flash of his own right, trying leaning against the T-side forces. Look towards outside, especially Flatro is going to get tagged at the 48 with the wall bangs.
Looking to pick again, in for credit card. He's been seen. The NWP doesn't quite find the connection. He's going to face again for a third time.
And GXX will punish him this time around, though. Afro on 7 points of health, and finally dead to rights. It's Flatcher and GXX combined. Jocko trying to press the issue in a lobby. Oh, the pre-fire to center ran into the crosshair, and the advantage goes back to Heat.
Oh my goodness, that's marvelous coming through. But look at the entry from Rigon to try and force it back to a 2v2, and they might even force the retake from Secrets.
16 HP for Rigon as well. Jocko rotate around the smoke. Gets caught off on Rigon's part, so it's GXX left alone. Bomb again dropped in lobby. Jocko try holder control. Escapes outside of the lobby entrance. GXX, oh, can he get his gap back turned? Is the timing going to be awful? Grab the bomb. Jocko leans in though. No, he falls back out. Did he not know the bomb was there?
He did know, just wants to give the respect for it because he knows the body's tailing down to the lower bomb side. So if it's a ramp play, body will know about it.
20 seconds, body. Turned, oh my God. They've walked right past each other. GXX can go to the upper bomb site now.
Jocko's still there though.
I believe that Jocko is in mini though, yeah. Watching position, rifle drops down, engages, and GXX cannot win the fight. Plays so perfectly around the CT side, but the last second falls into their clutches. And it's map point for the Frenchman side.
He knew what was going on there. You've got a player down towards lower body, keeping an eye on for the ramp play, and then Jocko just defending the top site. So there could be a matter of timing in which he slips the gap, but you know that you've got both sides defended. You're playing off one another with the clock, and for B&E, I'm surprised we haven't had many tacticals in this second half, knowing that it has been a struggle for quite a while.
Tees need to pick up their game here. Oh, half throw just lands on Flatro immediately. Center can respond. Body will follow suit with another good kill on GXX as well. Rigon responds. 3-on-2 advantage, make it one. Exercise, gonna face the last man and get the kill for it. 8 rounds in a row, 16-10. It will be the victors of Heat taking map 1.
That was an excellent showing coming through from Heat. And just the way they composed themselves towards the end of the half, winning 8 rounds in a row. Bad News Eagles, they kept the tempo, they kept it competitive in the first half, but moving into the second, that was Heat dominating.
And far better, crucially, than their semi-final performance on this Nuke. Did far better than the 7 rounds that they got against the X-Mad Lions. So for Heat, they've really come into their own. They want that land spot with their map pick in the back pocket. They're well on the way to do so. It's back to the desk.
Thank you, Dwayne, and thank you, Jay. That was a pretty eventful nuke, if you could put it that way. Heat, in the end, could be the stronger counterpart out of these two. But this was a pretty competitive map if we don't look at the later part of that second half. I think how things started off was pretty interesting. You got 4-4, and then we have these individual rounds kicking in. So I think the first half was great.
First, it was fun. It was a lot of fun to watch. I'm not sure if I would call it too competitive. I think Heat was well in the lead throughout all of the game, getting that strong T start and then just scrapping a few rounds here and there towards the tail end of the first half. A lot of forced buy wins, a lot of pistol round wins, and you know that reminds me of some old school French lineups, Envious and LDLC back in the day. That's some classic French CS. I liked it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, especially the tail end of that first half was very, very scrappy with the back and forth rounds. But then at the end of it, it's good to see, first of all, that Heat, regardless of having maybe a little bit of struggles on Nuke, being able to really have a solid D-half at first and then just locking it down towards the tail end of it. I guess the BNE, who was putting a lot of pressure on them, and the Djoko and the boys were able to answer to the call.
Very efficient CT ending there from Heat as well, just chaining up those rounds. What enabled them to get that such of a good ending towards it? What was going on with BNE?
We didn't see a very varied array of ideas on the T side for them. And I think that is sort of to be expected on this map. It's not one of their strongest. They've had some issues on Nuke lately, and the T side, that's where it gets punished if you don't have the ideas. And maybe if the individuals don't find the hard openings, because the Nuke openings on the T side, they can be tough.
Yeah, I think it came down to a lot of the mid rounds, really. I mean, one example comes to mind. They take over ramp, they get the entry kill on Djoko there. Then they have a lurk in hot. Yeah. He goes into the upper bomb site to catch off the rotation of guard. Problem is, the remainder of his team were still ramp. They hadn't given any pressure lower, meaning that the majority of the rotation wasn't even happening from the CTs yet. So the lurk gets killed, and it becomes a competitive round instead of the lurk waiting for that opportune time to come behind the CT rotating.
And I was a little bit bummed out that we didn't see any, if I don't know, maybe I missed it, but we didn't see any timeouts from Bad News Eagles all throughout that final few 7 rounds that Heat strung together. No timeouts, no new ideas. They just kept banging their heads against the wall, and he just locked things down. And yeah, it can't be stressed enough. I really like this type of Heat that we saw right now on Nuke. This is the type of Heat that can go far, and as we've seen, they're all the way in the final now.
At least when I've talked with like 1 or 2 coaches, when that kind of thing happens, that they don't take the time out, maybe they felt like the plan works, but we had 1 or 2 mistakes, and we just repeat the plan. So I guess there might be something like that involved.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it, though. When you lose so many rounds in a row, even if you are in the cusp of winning, like it's about a small detail here and there, to take a breather for a moment, to talk it through, especially with a team that we have evidence that they can definitely get a little bit too passionate at situations. Maybe it would have been a good idea to take a bit of a breather, maybe kind of reconsider their options a little bit. Maybe they would come up with something from the back of their heads that they hadn't thought of previously. So I would think that is a bit of a mistake that they never took that timeout.
Well, they left them unused, but let's dive into the first half and on from there a couple replays.
Well, what is similar between all these replays that we're going to watch at, as you can see, Djoko, no armor, just pushing with a P250. But these are all eco wins, or maybe at most half buy wins or force buys where Tech 9s do most of the business, or picked up rifles. Here's the Tech 9 rush onto ramp, which I think is one of the signature Heat plays on Nuke. I'm pretty glad we got to see it, and it is pretty harsh to stop. And then good pacing here. With the positioning here, with the death ball of the Heat side coming through. But yeah, when you're thinking about this from the Bad News Eagles side, you can lose maybe 1 of these a match, or maybe 2, but when you lose 3 or even 4 of these in a map, that's where it all falls apart.
Yeah, especially a map like Nuke, sometimes an upper hit pop, for example, or ramp pop with the pistols can be really effective. It can happen once in a half. You're right. If it happens this many times, you have to look in the mirror because you've obviously made some mistakes.
Still some positive remarks on both sides that they were prepared for this game. I believe Djoko was wrapping up some good numbers on the side of Heat, and then from BNE side, I mean, GXX, even Synopsy was showing up here. We got a couple of clips from Djoko here at least.
Yeah, I mean, just quickly from BNE, it was a very even kill in terms of statistics, between 16 and 21 kills for them, but the MVP for us, I believe, is Djoko. He did have 27 kills. Yeah. 8 multi-kill rounds in this map and almost 100 ADR. So a very, very good map from Mr. Djoko.
Yep. He was everywhere, and this just tells you the story of Heat. We never quite know who the player is who's going to be at the top of the scoreboard, but it also can be a positive because all of these 5 guys can do it. This time it was Joko. Maybe next map it is Afro again, but you never quite know who's going to show up.
The legendary 5 guys. As we are heading over to the second map, that's going to be Inferno. What are your primary thoughts about this one? Because this is a kind of a, it's kind of a do or die situation in the eyes of Bad News Eagles, but I wouldn't be too worried, I guess.
It is a do or die situation. They're 1 down in a grand final. They need to win this, otherwise they're out, right? It's done for.
But it makes it sound so dramatic in a sense where they did play a pretty relatively good CS map. So yeah. Trying to sugarcoat it just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Yeah, well, they have to bring it.
They're definitely going to have to bring it. As a map, Inferno, it maybe allows to Bad News Eagles play a little bit more to their strengths. I think the verticality kind of messed them up on a map like Nuke, where Heat is very comfortable. So things should be looking up a little bit, but yeah, the pressure's on.
The good old tiny streets of Inferno are going to be coming up next, but we're going to take a tiny commercial break in between and then return to game number 2. Might be the last, might not be the last. We'll see you in a bit. Welcome back, ladies and gents, to the Elisa Invitational Spring as we're in the grand finals, and it's time for map number 2, and it's going to be Inferno. We already saw HEET take their map pick on Nuke, and now heading over to Bad News Eagles' choice, Inferno. The most important thing I want to ask you guys is give me a 0 to 10 school grade. How important is it for Bad News Eagles on their map pick to convert on that pistol round on the T side?
I mean, it would definitely push them in the right direction for sure. But they're a very competent team on the map, so I don't think they'll die or ride on what happens in the pistol round specifically.
So that's a solid 7?
Huh?
A solid 7?
A 5.
Yeah, 5, 6 maybe.
Yeah. All right.
Maybe.
Well, they are a pretty momentum-based team, so that's where that pistol round will come in. We saw the win percentage; it is pretty low for them. Have they had a lot of time to prepare for this one? Well, the answer is no. A little bit over an hour, but Inferno is definitely the map that they would have been looking at. That they pretty much probably saw this coming in as the pick for HEET. Inferno, that is. But HEET's Inferno, it is pretty strong. What's a positive sign for Bad News Eagles is that they pretty handedly beat Finest on this map, so that's something positive to consider. They got the really, really strong CT side. Was it a 10-5 or something to that vein? So that's something to look forward to.
Yeah, what I'm looking for is, are we going to see more of the BNE dry peaks, top and middle fighting and timing for players that are bottom mid getting ready to take over Banana? Are we going to see more Rigon action, just triple picking Banana, gets 1 kill, goes for a second pick, gets another kill, goes for a third pick? That's going to be, again, fun to see. I'm fairly confident we're going to see more of that from the side of BNE. How is the HEET side going to be able to solve that puzzle? It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I'm also very curious to see HEET play on Inferno, because they haven't had that many maps in the recent past. So.
Yeah, very true. They played it once in June, once in May, and a couple of times in April. So not the most played map for them, but maybe that is more to the surprise factor that they're going to be able to maybe shock and awe Bad News Eagles a little bit. But I think a key for Bad News Eagles is disrupting the T-side XX from HEET, because if HEET can do the XX with their own pace, with their own accord, then you're going to be in trouble if you're Bad News Eagles.
Well, as we're going to go to the caster desk for this one, Dweg and Jay, do you believe in the shock and awe element here for HEET and Inferno?
Well, definitely would be appropriate for the map's namesake that HEET would bring the fire on their own map pick. Of course, the BNE side not quite getting it over on that first map of Nuke. So their chance to bounce back in this series with their own pick here, Dwayne. I do feel like the second and third map are going to be a real big struggle here for this team.
It's going to be tough. I still think we're going to go to a third, but I've looked at HEET's Inferno recently, and especially when they took on Hummer, they had some very good CT sides. If they're able to put some work down on their T side as well come the second half, I think this could be a very competitive series, and I really hope we get to see more from Jocko, because that was an outstanding performance in the first map.
Oh, absolutely. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. And if the first map was anything like the second map was anything like the first one, I can see it being just as competitive already in the pistol start. We've seen a 2-for-1 trade in that mid control. Rigon with the latest, Flatro with the next. Now the B site's been busted open by Bad News Eagles.
Just getting so many mid picks off of the basis of trying to go in for a banana take straight into the B site, exercise an Afro, are kind of in a position where you might want to save. Just think about the force up in the next round, 2v4, and already Rigon just getting aggressive up to the first origin position, doming Afro out of play.
Exercise alone to try and recover the situation. The USP leaning in for Marches. And all that speedway angle. Rigon is going to get caught and dealt with, so that's one good pick. But 39 HP to do the rest. For Exercise, it will be a struggle and a half.
You got to imagine so. So back off. Even Sodopsy up here towards a short position might be able to deal with him. It's some further exit damage. Getting a little bit more money on the bonus, but overall, BNE have really put themselves in a position that they want to drive this last player out of play.
Jump face, looking for the kills. He's going to get it as well, but run out of ammo against the last man, somehow staying alive against Flatro. Toying with him a little bit, but nothing that means anything here in the round itself. It was already run by Bad News Eagles when they got to that B site, so pistol for them. HEET doing all that they can. And of course, well placed of their own accord in this map up. Bad News Eagles with the pistol win to start off their map up. And HEET Very similar story, they're forced to buy.
Haven't seen B&E pick Inferno once in the last 3 months, and I guess that kind of comes down to them always leaning in towards a Dust 2 or Mirage, and kind of having a look at what the map pool is from Heat. You don't really want to go down that sort of direction. Mirage is going to get banned out. Do you go into Dust 2, go to a Strength, maybe you go in towards the top of Banana. Pacey once again up on the force buy, and my goodness, that was just a shred.
Mac 10 go kill. Hold W, he described that round. Hold W, hold mouse 1. And there you go. Lucky left alone as the last man left here for the CT side. Nothing much they can really do except just sit there and wait. Maybe he might be able to get a pick, but I doubt it really will happen here. Like, just seeming like Bad News Eagles will get the second on the board pretty easily. Flat throw. Perfect headshot angle against the Mac 10 position. Wins it as well and gets the rifle in. So a lot of cash going the way of B&E.
Of course, a lot of confidence too after that round. And just to kind of average what I was trying to get to before it was just a whole W round, is that Inferno typically gets played as a third map decider or teams picking it against Bad News Eagles. A very good opportunity to kind of outclass what they've got to offer at a grand final state. Very quick pace in these opening couple of rounds. You've got to imagine that that is only going to continue coming the third, especially when you think that Heat aren't going to have much on their side.
They kept those Mac 10s in and went the USP route. As the Heat decided to shred through them once again. Stack into that B site as Rigon's AK will start to prod. And not for too much hit. They're not going to overextend.
Double nades towards the back of the sandbags. I like this from Heat. As soon as they take a contact, they'll start swinging players forward. Rigon spotted at least quite a few of them.
Sprays through as Rigon and Senna get the crossfire locked out. Joker does get one good pick. Very awkward spray there from Senna, but does land the kill in the end. He's feeling very bad about that one. Does grab the AK at least, so keeping that weapon in play. But it does come together for the Bad News Eagles. 3-0 start, and now come the guns.
Just knowing that there's been a few head-to-heads on record as well, that the last 2 have gone the way of the Bad News Eagles. Heat are looking to try and turn that one around. Having a very good performance on their map pick, and now in the early start of Inferno, not winning the pistols, so being down 0-3, opportunity to buy it up on the rifle round though. And an AWP in for Rigon because he has the best spawn.
Straight up to that mid control. With the AWP, but not able to see anything. The CTs are very passive alongside this A site. Exercising at the apartments, Lucky on the site itself. Backups on the rotate and all because they have put Jocko up on the half-wall boost. Spray down against them, fall away. Play contact for now, but the execution's becoming real quick towards this short position. Flatro getting caught up by his teammates, he'll back away.
There's a lot of body blocks going on right now towards that short position. HE placement's been good.
And Lucky will follow suit on Synopsy, remove him from play. Flatro's going to take some damage to bodies, HE. Spray from him, already got the early kill in the round itself, so a 5-on-3 for Heat. Bad News Eagles now have no choice but to slow it down.
Very chaotic in that brackets take, and Heat just realized let's pummel Util. A lot of HGs go out to that start. Slight gap in the bottom of that smoke, hoping to catch body, and that's exactly what GXX is able to find.
Joker with a nade, just jump facing, looking for GXX here. The AWP had been seen. Senna, I don't know if he was seen. Either way, he'll fall back. Nade damage will be done towards GXX in a minimal amount, just chipping away at the bar. Flatro, not going to act out apartments here.
All a matter of timing on when he could deal with exercise, and unfortunately that lurk bet's caught off. Now the setup down towards B. Crossfire set, pretty decent so far.
Time taken away though. Afro on the cross being held up here, doesn't need to peek. Jocko, similar story towards Dark. Senna to find the frag in. M4 fires away and GXX can catch him with the AWP. Now it's left towards him and Senna will fall back and the AWP sees his pixel. Backups on the way and he charges up to the back of the site, missing his AWP shot and missing the round. It's the first on the board for Heat.
Jocko being able to provide a couple of kills, and you could feel there for B&E, they're very desperate to break that crossfire apart. It was really the spam in from body, gets a lucky connection onto Rigon, but the nade placement too. And for B&E, if they do go in for that sort of an aggressive approach in the brackets again, I think they need to make sure that they either commit or don't give away as much info. There was so much noise being made out there, and as soon as they sort of cancel, even for a moment, that's when all the util damage rains in.
Those guns back in for the Heat side thanks to that victory. Bad News Eagles, damage done to Flatro. The nades onto Rigon and Senna Early util damage is so frivolous for the Heat side as Jocko charges in against the two individuals up Banana, gets both of them with no trades.
I reckon we're getting a Jocko special in this series, Jay. That's another good round from him. Even Afro's going to get smoked off of the contact, but what a B&E working with here. The apartment's lurking for Synopsy, GXX trying to make a play in for brackets, knowing that you've got teammates tagged up and light nades. This is going to be a very difficult round to crack open. And we saw in the final series, actually, for the B&E side, when they played Inferno, they were taking so much nade damage anytime they were trying to take Banana early.
60 seconds remaining. Bad News Eagles going to focus on A site as a result here. The two players still sat back towards that B site. Won't see much of this. They actually might start rotating body here. Smoke set up, flashes over. Synopsy caught blinded by it. Will still try to get out of the apartments. On the balcony he stands. 40 seconds and then sprays through from Flatro. Synopsy working his way up as GXX is caught by Afrozorb. That's the Orca of the T side down. Exercise picks up one and Lucky catches a very blind Synopsy for the second round of the board of Heat.
And we saw that for the Heat side, when they were back on land one game before their advancement into the actual Pro League itself, they took on the Brazilians of Hummer. That was the last Inferno result that we've seen from them. 10-5 was the CT scoreline that they managed in the first half. Trying to see if they can get up to something similar to that, because there were some struggles on the T side. They had to close it out in OT eventually. As of right now, they're building up an economy float. They've forced B&E into an eco situation, just knowing no bomb plants have been riz in the last couple of rounds.
Quickly in for Synopsy. Body's going to catch the kill already against the man, wasting no time to pick that up. Orb of Afro firing back. Sure that nobody else will start to press the issue behind that smoke, and Banana they'll vacate though back into the A site. There seems to be a common theme here for Bad News Eagles. Prod the B site, prod through Banana, lose out a pick, go to A, see what success you can find. And this time they have found a wraparound here behind the CT side. The clock's been seen on GXX, though. Afro knows that they're in Speedway, and at the spawn itself might force the CTs on the other side of the map to try and account for it. Afro gets GXX body, unawares of how close Flatro is, so a kill found. Jocko on the flower pots, though, removes him from play.
Needs to try and stop this Banana hold, and whoa, what a smoke that is. They're going to still go through it, though.
AK up against them both, though. Backup's also on the way in the form of Afro. Jocko gets his pick back as Afro responds the damage. 5 bullets in the magazine left for Jocko, and he's tapping through to try get Rig on. He gets them both instead. Bomb can commit for the plant here.
Decent eco so far. Any more getting presented?
2 players inbound for Banana, so it looks like Rigon's not done yet. Now he is. Lucky with the quick swing, the quick kill. Not going to allow anything more to come through on that front. Should grab the AK and the AWP for their own right, so keep those 2 primary weapons in. Actually, Lucky wants to stick with the M4. That's fair enough. No, he doesn't. He wants to go back for it. So Defuse will be found in the end. Third to the board of Heat, as they are indecisive as to what their setup will end up looking like, but they do get it together in the end. So even standings for the Frenchman. Bad News Eagles might have found the start, but Heat are not letting them go down without a fight.
I'm liking the protocols that I'm seeing for Heat. You could even see there for Jocko being in a big off angle, looking towards CT when the information comes through. And as soon as he gets that pick, what does he do? Put the smoke down. You're expecting the wrap in from Banana. And even though Rigon still gets 2 kills with the Tech 9, it is still the idea and the approach on the City side and how they want to muster up against B&E. I think Heat are reading the game quite well. They're using their utility on point.
Nate stacks again. Going to set a little bit too far high there for the Heat side. They still get Flatro down at 46. And the early utility placement's been fantastic for the CT forces for the most part. Not quite as fantastic as they were previously. Synopsy actually gets the opening kill this time.
Slight off angle with the boost up to look down towards the top of Banana. This could just be a quick B-exec, actually.
Smokes and flashes in. Jocko's going to get top of the flower pot boost as Afro finds a pick back in the apartment. Synopsy will get caught for it. Bonnie making a fair amount of noise, trying to indicate some sort of rotate back. He's got util at his feet, trying to suppress the T side, which will be successful for the time being. But Rigon will continue the walk forward here, trying to spot them. Jocko very passive at the flower pots here. Re-smokes and re-flashes will catch him blind. Rigon will be heard of the quick face back. The tap of center will get forced to the man out. Jocko gets the kill, and now Body can reposition, but not all the way around to the site. Flatro's extended a tree, and this kill comes in pretty easy for the man. No, Lucky bails him out and looks to double up, but almost just doesn't quite get it.
The overextension just being shown with the gun barrel. Rigon's getting baited, doesn't know about Body on the other side. And for GXX, he's got to get the bomb down. They need the extra money.
If he knew that Lucky was such low HP, would have capitalized upon that kill immediately. Forced into the open, inadvertently baited there by Lucky. Body was watching it. Now GXX, 30 seconds, going to plant out, tap once, and that force to rotate back from the CT forces. They will reposition for it. I think he spotted the man over at Coffins, and the sprays through will come against him. Now he's got to commit to the plant this time. Swings out from Body, seen. Lucky caught first. There's a kill. Body not quite revealing his position. The footsteps heard out towards the back of Banana. The Molotovs on GXX not extending to him though. He looks to be safe for the time being. Body trying to bait him out. The AWP missing. The tags through. Body swings out and gets his frag in the end. HEET will gain the lead.
Very well played there from HEET. They work off one another, get the information. The fact that you've got Body being so back passive and that molly goes to Nubox, he hasn't seen the pillar walk. He hasn't seen him get to dark. So, okay, he's got to be first oranges or second. You even saw that spam coming through from Jocko. And it's plays like this where you look at it from Flatware and think, mate, if you just play the bomb site and play the bomb 3v3, there's probably more success that gets found, but it's just hyper aggressive again. And for B&E, they've been punished for that on T-side so far. We saw it on Nuke.
Feel like we're reversing roles here, because we were bashing HEET over the course of their series of having overly aggressive plays. Now they're on the receiving end of that aggression, and they're on the giving end of the punishment. Bad news, Eagles. AK's in for Rigon, the hero rifle in this round, backed up by Mac 10's P250 and a Deagle. And mid-control set for the T-side.
How does Lucky's HE look? Not that many players in brackets just yet. They're actually regrouping a little bit further down. It's all right, it's got another incendiary. We'll see if this is a bit better.
We asked how his HE looked, and I was just like, oh, okay, that's fair enough. No damage done for certain, even if they were in brackets. Lucky backing off out towards Archie's. Flatro will get caught for it. Rigon with a trade, and Senna also follows suit. But Body's AK is also in position to try cut those players off, get his 2K in, leave it all on Senna and Synopsy. One of which is rotating to the B site, which is very open. Senna's still in the apartments, could counter-rotate it, or Synopsy could go for a backstab.
The problem is they don't know if the CTs have aggressed down brackets at all, so going all the way around back to B is going to be so difficult. Synopsy might be able to catch one out with a knife. Jocko is still there for the pick, and now Senna has seen the A play of exercise, but the pick does not come through. And for B&E, the only way that you could really crunch down on that round was get Synopsy right in the backstab, get him into library, then you can crunch down. But unfortunately, he kind of gets caught in the process before he can even get to library.
HEET have fully bounced back from this control. 5 on their board now.
Hello, Tactical,
5
where are you?
for that matter. I was thinking the same thing, actually, because we've seen very few of those, actually, over the course of this series. The bad news, Eagles being down by a map, you don't want to let this one go so easily. With the rifles out in play again for round 9, this would have been a perfect chance to slow things down, rethink the approach, and go from there on. GXX not finding the first frag. Afro, however, finds the frag against him. Rigon also tagged by the nade.
These last few rounds have been outclassed, Jay. Superb utility usage once again from HEET. So much utility damage consistently, whether it's out on A or Banana, and now even the aggressive Banana take.
And Flatro jumping forward at a failed flashbang. It doesn't catch Jocko blind. It didn't get Body, though, so the trade is even easy enough to get it back to a 4-on-4 and gain the map control. Rotations coming in thick and fast, and these two individuals, the tanked up players of the T-side line, might struggle with site execution, especially as Body lines up sprays on the center, gets the killing. It's the one man, the M4, get traded back by center as their own right. Exercise doing some significant damage to Synopsy next, who charges forward, brings it back to a 2-on-2. Bomb tapped once, Body blind firing onto the first plant. The second plant will come through from center. The retake on for Afro, picking up the AK, got a challenge Synopsy directly here at point blank of the half wall, sees them both and sprays them down.
Beautiful retake once again coming through from HEET. Do you know what I really like, though, is the Body doesn't overpeak. You can see what B&E were trying to do there. They're working the 2v3, they get Synopsy aggressive down in CT spawn. They tap the bomb, what, 2, almost 3 times in that round because they're drawing the fight. They really want Body out to the open, and he doesn't peek. He holds that line from Coffins for such a long period, waits for Afro to come through from Banana, play it sensibly, and then it's just the lineup. That's a little bit unfortunate for the last couple of players. 6-3, and there's the tactical. Now, if I remember back to the Sinners game, especially on Mirage when they were down, what was it, 11-14, we were only getting tacticals right at the end, not when they were losing the rounds.
Instant called out by the Bad News Eagles side after 6 in a row. HEET have been on the comeuppance. All their control held this map, swinging their way pretty effectively, in Bad News Eagles can't afford to let it go any further, so moment in time to discuss things. half by, however, to try and execute with them.
And I can say with confidence, the heat that we're seeing here in this best of 3 is not the heat that we saw against Masonic, is not the heat that we saw against X-Mad Lions, is not the heat we saw against Saw, in Tropic, in ECL playoffs. This is the heat that we saw at LAN, the ones that were super successful.
The ones that were playing for a spot to progress back to another LAN, which, funny enough, the same circumstances right here in this matchup. Maybe it's that extra pressure that brings the best out of the Frenchman here. Damage done already to the HE placement against Rigon, GXX, and Flatro. T's see nothing of Heat. They'll all back off.
Just trying to work out the utility damage right now. Heat's at about 700 and B&E is about 80.
Quite significant, to say the least.
Very much so.
Smokes down at the long control. Afro offset and nades onto 2 other individuals. The flashes go over. GXX suppressed by the Molotov for the time being. Exercise watching out for the short act, but Bad News Eagles are not moving yet.
Slowing it down, thinking about that abs pop. Rigon taking the distraction, but Exercise is still ready for the pop out.
Thinks there might be some sort of apps pop, and there could well be, but the flash is not on GXX here, so we can't really support it. Meanwhile, Synopsy caught out towards the B side. That was a pretty easy kill for Jocko. His back was turned to him, and now Lucky has seen where Senna is at. GXX starts making his move up towards long, trying to fight onto the likes of Afro. Disappear through the arches. Maybe get the frag against the man. His teammates are backed away, though, to re-aggress into the A side. Afro fought first. Turned around. Missed shots from both sides. Exercise does find Flatcher on the trade, though. Now GXX to try and force the issue. 16 seconds, and he can't land his flicks. Senna does get one, but now needs to find Exercise and find the rotations, but no. Exercise with the triple keeps the streak alive for Heat.
And there's a concept that's been discussed before, that certain teams play to the level that the team that they're up against. And I don't know how true that really is, but I'm getting a very good vibe of it. The way that they played against Masonic, they put themselves in a position where they're just stronger than Masonic. They put themselves up against X-Mad Lions, they're just stronger than X-Mad Lions. They put themselves against B&E, a top-class team in this entire event, nearly top 20 on HLTV, and they're playing to that caliber and more.
Come alive on the final day. Burst through from body, gets Synopsy, kicks things off. Exercise looking for Flat True next. A 5-on-3 gain for it, and continuing to press up against the T side line. Their backs are turned. Senna will check it, but he can still fall hound to the man. Almost does. 4 HP and a 4v3.
Body still hanging down. The jiggles come back in, and even Rigon is struggling to find the trade back. GXX is trying to make a play, but he gets smoked off, but they know exactly where he is.
He's the last man standing. Jocko waits, sprays, wins the fight, and wins the 8th in a row for Heat. Bad News Eagles. This has gone from a return to a bad form state to a very, very awkward situation. One that I'm not sure they can recover from.
No, I don't think so either. This is looking very dire, and it's giving me very similar signs to what happened on the closeout of Nuke. You look at the way that when Heat went over towards their CT side, they got, what, 8 rounds in a row, and it wasn't really that convincing for them to close. Maybe it's just all in the CT sides today for Heat.
Fast in, wasting no time. Incendiaries and nades at the ready. Flashes in as the fast players come out for the T-side line. Jocko does catch Synopsy. Lucky evades the angle as the AWP of Afro sees what's really going on. Backed up by Body once again. Kill on GXX. Flatro can trade at the AWP, but is overwhelmed, but he gets his kill back in. Maintains the 3-on-2 for the T-side, but that bomb's making its way into Banana. Rigon's putting distraction. It could still be the plant for Senna, but he decides to commit to A.
Lucky could still cut the bomb off in this long control. Depending if he looks down towards brackets or not, there is footsteps being heard. Senna's making noise.
Has got access to the site, pretty easy access at that. Default plant, not take the risk, not go towards the back wall. Does mean they can't use the corner, or at least Rigon can't use the corner save. Senna will be watching, however, from that same pit position. 2 more CTs on the way in for the retake.
That's got to be the last thing on their mind. They're thinking about how we close out this round, because even for Heat, there is so much utility to force these T's in the open.
Incendiaries and smokes on. Rigon's going to evade it. Half the time a tick by. They're running out here, Heat. Got to make their move in. Flashes forward, center holds. Rigon gets that one pick. Looks around towards Afro, gets the double up. Looking for the triple, but Jocko takes it. Senna stalled for enough time though. He's on the bomb. He's on for the kill. Will grab the AWP and finally get 4 for BNE.
And surely Senna has just jumped, skyrocketed with the amount of clutches won over the last couple of days than so many other players have in this entire event. Anytime it feels like BNE are going to clutch out, it's always him at the helm.
Bad news, Eagles will benefit for that. Rebuy back into the next round. The damage that they've done in the previous few have limited Heat zone economy state. The savings aren't great. The buy's definitely there though. The nade placement again, it returns towards Banana. Center on 12 HP already.
The protocols, they're on point. They've come very prepared here on Inferno today. And even the wallbang shot from Afro is going to do some further damage onto Rigon. BNE, they've just gained top Banana control, and you wonder, it can't be a quick BXC again. The bomb is so far behind.
Smokes up for Jocko. Waiting for them, but just can't seem to see them. That passive, he'll wait as Bad News the Eagles set up the execution, set up the default. Synopsy looking to act out towards Boiler meanwhile. Utility in play, around the corner for Lucky. Look for the kill when he gets it.
So much info. Afro's aggressing down from mid. BNE have got to go. And even Jocko could play passive. Rotates are coming through from body too.
No one's watching this as well. The AWP frag comes in against Flatro. 3 left, 2 left for the T side. A reface from Afro's looking for a little bit more. He doesn't quite land it though. GXX with the trade, but that's 3 for 1 on the trade. And Heat know where they're all holding from Jocko. An easy frag on center, leaving GXX for the ace clutch on the orb. Looking down towards Banana. The bomb not even on his back here. Sees the shoulder from Lucky. We'll try and isolate this pick, but surely it's an exit frag.
Gotta imagine so. Deal with Lucky and then just save. Hold on to it. Mate, what is happening right here? Just when you think the BNE find their first in 8 in a row, you go, okay, building blocks, that's the first. Now we need the second and the third to bring this back, and it's just an annihilation again. The early nades towards Banana. To think that Jocko was the only B player and that they were holding 4 and 8, it was just an info play. Synopsy trying to lurk out from Boiler. He gets caught from Lucky. Afro starts aggressing down from brackets into the bottom of Banana, and they're being outclassed by a really far mile. And I could not have seen this. I don't think many people could have expected Heat to show up in the way that they have today, especially in the grand final.
I'm pretty sure we all said map 3's on the table, right? Like us, the desk, unless I'm missing somebody.
Sound about right.
No one saw this coming. And I'm kind of holding out hope that it's still not coming, that Bad News Eagles have like a CT half that brings it back. But right now, that's not looking likely. All we have to pull from is this T half, this first half. And what we see is decimation from Heat. Bad News Eagles don't even have a full buy. Deagle in for Synopsy. The AK exercise peeking ahead of Apps. Let Flatro get up there, but we'll catch the first frag against the Deagle. Kick things off for the CT side. Flatro does trade, responsive, comes in as well, the double up.
Finally, punishment for over-aggression there from Heat, getting way too far forward, but Jocko strikes out towards that B side, and now there's a cancellation. Now they've got to start working with into A, and Body might be able to drop the bomb.
Afro sees the cross and lands the leg shot. Flatro legs, Rigon dead to Body. 3 on 2, center next to peek in. Out towards Brackets, Body seeing the bomb now for permanency. The backup will rotate into the backstab. Center's gonna get caught by Jocko. Very well placed, very well stalled, and Heat get to 10.
It's easier said than done, because obviously there's a lot going on in that round. But even if we just take it back to the basics, Dre, and say anytime you punish aggression and you've got a 4v3, you should be winning that round. And instead, there's just a lack of success from that point onwards. Jocko gets the pick towards Banana. Body's aggressive on the long side into brackets. And then Afro just doing damage with the AWP consistently.
One more round in the half, and Bad News Eagles just need to get a fifth, something to carry into the next half with a bit of confidence and decency. But again, the nade strike. Jocko misses out his spray, so Afro's forced to rotate back here onto the site. He holds with the AWP. Got back up in Body's AK. The flashes will force them back again. The incendiary stops the hit.
Both players playing together. Might even be a boost up towards New Box for Afro.
Oh, lovely nade on Rigon. Oh, it's going to be a bait and switch. The AWP lands on Synopsy. Rigon will take some damage for it. Incendiary is throwing back. Exercise provides support. The smoke comes in. The orb swings and lands on center. Afro still alive and kicking, doing more damage, looking for his kill on the Deagle. A triple for him. And Heat dismantle. Afro dismantles Bad News Eagles again with a quadra, with an 11-4 half.
That was an absolute masterclass. I am loving every single bit of this first half from Heat. I think they ended the half on roughly 1,200, 1,300 utility damage, and you compare that with the likes of B&E, when it's sitting about 300. There is a big comparison, and it's not just the util, Jay. It's the protocols, it's the crossfires, it's some of the ability too. I mean, Afro and Jocko have just consistently fired across this series.
This is unreal. And not what we expected it to be. The first map, a back and forth brawl. The second one could be just a forward decimation, a steamroll from Heat. Steamrolling their way into the Masters. 5 rounds to get there. Bad News Eagles need to turn it around, starting with the pistol here. USP's out, the fuse on center. Double flash in for him as well. Utility on 3 players of the Heat side. Lucky Afro body. Passive in mid, 1 player pushing up to Banana.
It's a change of pace, isn't it? We come into the second half, we come into Heat on the T side, and it slows right down. And just when you consider that Heat nearly lost to Masonic in the quarterfinals, nearly lost that third map, then you consider the fact that they nearly got 2-0'd by X-Mad Lions this morning. And then you think about the performance and the class act that we're seeing here in the best of 3 in the grand final. And it just doesn't add up, does it?
Nothing seems to add up right here. Bad News Eagles do start things off on the right foot for Synopsy. The headshot on Jocko, the flashes in against him. Rigon provides support with his USP, taps on 2, swings in for the triple and gets it as well. Synopsy now bearing down against Exercise in the corner. It's a quadra for the Swissman. And finally, BNE gets some decency as they start the CT side.
And we know that Rigon's the highest rated player on Inferno for BNE, and we need to see it right here in the second half. He proved it in the pistol. Great stance when it comes to the counter utility, consistently fighting down from that half wall, and just the taps in by that USP. That's going to build a lot of confidence, even if it's just for 1 round here for BNE.
It's a start, and that's what we need to see. The build back into the comeback. Only separated by 6 rounds here. Possible to completely return fire and get B&E into a decent second map in this series. Molotovs sent, the nades go down. Synopsys got the SMG up to the wood stack. Looks up and over, hopes for contact, hopes for kills. Afro is spotted, bursted upon to 58 HP. That's not a kill though.
And you wonder for B&E, has the pressure gotten to them in this best of 3, Jay? Knowing it's a grand final, knowing that they've only been in a grand final so far this year in a closed qual and in a ESEA Cash Cup. As for Heat, they've been in grand finals before and they've even won events this year.
They've gone to land so far this year. Outside of the major, B&E haven't really done that all that often. GXX kill found on Exercise. Flatro and GXX cross-firing against all players in the mid-control. And indeed, Bad News Eagles get away with the next round. They stick to the board. Now the difference of 5 between the scorelines. The buy-up should come through, however, from Heat. They try and get this victory over the finish line. Bad News Eagles coming back into their own. So whether the pressure is getting them is yet to be seen.
This will be a real tester. First rifle round of the second half. AK's coming through in the fold here for Heat. Opportunity to put the pressure right back on. And for B&E, I'd like to see more aggressive approaches, especially from the SMGs. Utilize the bonus round to maximize potential.
Smokes in against the Molotovs put down there, the banana control. Nades on. Burst through on body, doing damage to 25 HP. So it's Bad News Eagles dishing out the early util damage this time. Heat getting a taste of their medicine. But dishing out similar amounts to center here. He's on 17 HP.
Flash for the half wall. They want to try and see if they can force Rigon out into the open. B&E are actually bringing a 3-man B setup involved. They want to try and take some of this control, and that's a missed half wall smoke actually for B&E.
Does force Heat back to the wood stack though. Afro boosted. Continuing map control, potentially getting a pick for it. Rigon sees them on that boost. They charge back forward, now knowing they've gained all banana control.
He's got out of safety, but at the same time, he's also taken a lot of damage in the process. And look at the off angles being held from the CTs defending B.
Feel like you're throwing over, flash in for Synopsy. Back to peek. See, just a shoulder, not a kill towards Afro. Not yet, at least. A reface gives Afro the frag instead.
They're going again. They want to try another pump at this.
M4 picked up by Rigon. He actually falls away from position as the execution's coming in thick and fast. Flatro with a kill. Flashed off position, will fall back into the church. Rigon known to the backside, blinded by 2 flashes himself. Lucky bearing down upon him as Flatro fires blind. Backup is here on the CT side, but they lose a man and they lose many more. Lucky and Afro combining, leaving Senna on 17 HP in the 1v4.
That's one hell of a statement. You might win the pistol, you might win the anti-eco, but come the first rifle round, that is a slapping. Heat taking the top banana control. And it seemed as if they were very much aware that B&E wanted to keep taking that top banana control, playing behind the half wall, allowing Afro on the contact to deal with that first player, Synopsy, and even putting pressure down to the last guy. I don't know if Senna's going to hold on to the M4.
Exercise goes back, turn towards him. Good position now, get the kill. Indeed, no M4 stays in for him. He's going to opt for the M4 above the AK as well. Not like it matters all that much here for Heat. They got rifles and B&E will have maybe a pistol half buy in this one. The money's not quite stabilized. I don't think they'll go for the full-on investment here.
Very difficult. They had that extra M4. I think they might have brought it down completely. Now they've got to make a decision because it does leave limitations for sure. And they're going to take another tactical call in their second. And not only do we talk about the experience this year of being in finals and what have you, it's Heat turning the situation around so massively from the last Invitational. They took on Havu in the quarterfinals. They beat them in a very close best-of-3. They took on Ents in the semis last time around, a top 15 team in the world, handled them pretty easily, and had a really tough time against the Bulgarians of Skade. A total of 16 rounds was gained on 2 maps in that series. But the way that they've shown up and the way they've executed their game plan here in the grand final this time around against another class team, they've really got something to prove and something to offer. And it shows how important and how necessary getting this land spot is going to be for the team.
Most important of all the Elisa Invitationals thus far. A victory to hold for Heat to turn away from their past transgressions. The Molotovs, the HGs coming in. Damage done to Synopsy to 57 points of health. He will dive out of the way and wait on the back of the B site.
Even the boost up from Lucky isn't seeing any presence towards the top of the half wall. And for B&E, they have decided to force it down, Jay. We were entertaining the idea that maybe they don't because they didn't have that saved in M4. There's no kit. There's a Lucky util, and it's a FAMAS for Senna. This is signs of desperation for B&E. They have to come through with a round victory in 19.
Rocco sprays onto the boiler position. Exercise going to try and rotate back with him. Hold their position as they exit out of the apartments. Don't know if they got a good read on what B&E are doing, whether they got some information to their favor or whether or not they just have a feeling. Either way, they'll lean to the B side, but there's only Synopsy to hold.
Either way, it's a god call because they overwhelm B and it might just be an instant save. There's not really that much room for B&E to work with on a retake. Again, no kit and lack of nades.
There's a broken economy right here. There's no reason to go for the retake. Synopsy needs to get at least 1 to set up the retake. Body wraps around. Synopsy knows that he's being flanked. 2 to find, gets none. Bad news, Eagles pressing mid, but probably go for the save here. Or not, actually. This is wild.
Yeah, this is B&E at their strongest, trying to see if they can go aggress up towards the top of Banana, but they end up backing off. I like this. It's just, it was never going to happen.
Maybe if they got there before the bomb went planting, that could have been the way in, but the smoke from Heat smartly called out to suppress them from Banana control. 13 to the T-board. Bad news, Eagles. At least have the weapons saved into the next round. Should be able to buy from Synopsy or at least drop him a weapon. It won't be a full rifle like a true M4. AWP is definitely off the table. Lost bonus stacking up for B&E. Should at least keep the guns in for the next round. For now, it's 13 to 6. Heat only 3 away from the victory here in the Elisa Invitational Grand Finals.
And I really don't want to take anything away from HEET and make this sound really negative, but have we overestimated the likes of B&E? And are we getting into that conversation? Because think back to the Finest result. That was a game that was nearly a 2-0 for Finest, and it wasn't until Rigon made that massive eco steal that even the comeback was possible. And then, of course, they came into the third map and they won it pretty convincingly. And then against Sinners, they went 29 rounds on map 1, 30 rounds on map 2 with a team with a coach. It's all coming to my mind now that I'm seeing what we are in the grand final.
Well, on the contrary, maybe we've underestimated HEET in this one because, let's be honest, their run, not only in this tournament, but also in Republic earlier on this week, has been a little bit shaky. A 2-1 result against Masonic, had to go to double overtime on Nuke. The 16-12s and 16-11 throws in for good measure. X-Mad Lions took a map over them and a 16-7 decimation on Nuke again. Both angles can be chased up here. Maybe HEET have just come alive in the heat of the moment. Rigon finding Lucky, however, putting him down, extinguishing the flames in the Bernarda control. Getting rid of some T-side presence. The smoke will clear out towards long as GXX strikes on 2 more. And Bad News Eagles bounce back from the streak. Should be taking round 20.
Just what they're looking for. Great long contact coming through from GXX to multifrag. And now for Exercise and Body, Bernarda's been taken away from you. You don't exactly have a lot of map presence, and this is a further more opportunity for B&E to get more frags, get more AK saved in on the city side.
And all 5 players falling as prime real estate for them. Only 2 AKs being saved by the Bad News Eagles, so that much will give them a little bit bonus firepower. And HEET won't have the best of buys either. You can already see the Galil coming in for Exercise. The economy has been limited.
This is now what we would call a swing round. One of them where the economies from both teams aren't pretty. It's not exactly a reset, but it could push B&E even further to really coming back to crippling the T side. Making a couple of rounds in a row. Slightly quicker up towards the second mid. Early HE onto Jocko down to 77. Synopsy and Rigon aren't as keen in taking Banana like they were last rounds.
Got the prod there for Synopsy's part. Sprays through the smoke to the utility being thrown towards the A side, particularly towards long as where the T's will go. GXX forced away from Arches. Smoke will go down towards Library in the end as they suppress the 2 CT players on the site itself. GXX charges forward, sprays Manic. Afro and Jocko do get the trading game. The flash is in against Afro's position. Caught on the reload, Rigon swings, gets a kill, looks to double up, but the bomb's been dropped by him. Now Synopsy has a defensive line to hold long. He's going to continue peeking though. He wants more kills. He might get overly greedy in this case. Exercise has seen him now. He falls back, takes a dink to 22 HP, lines him up, but gets knocked down.
And for B&E, there's just so much time to play with, and it's just constant fighting. Just trying to consistently put the pressure down. And you saw even the art trap, how quickly that comes into the fold. Lucky gets a very strong entry, and from this point onwards, it's sort of a 2v2. You can slow it down instead. It's just more fighting over and over. Exercise and Lucky getting the 1-up for sure. And for B&E, I think you've got to take a tactical. It's already gone. We're going into the next round, and this could potentially be the last 2 of the game.
The broken buy like this for Bad News Eagles that they can't save a weapon into the next round. It most certainly would be. Economy wrecked. You mentioned how it wouldn't be a full reset against B&E here, but the next round would be. They need to take round 22, else HEET will be up for map, match, and tournament points. Senna leaning forward into Apps, knows the Exercise is out there.
It's a matter of timing on how aggressive the approach is. A lot of util going to that long position. And Drive Flattery might get forced out to the open. Scenari at least gets seen, and Body's so aggressive behind the smoke.
Sprays through, Jocko getting his kill. Afro following suit through said smoke. GXX to swing, get a flick. That's 1. Trade back for a 2-for-1 overall. Dive back into the pit control, expecting Body to swing as well. Catching him at the edge of the smoke, but Afro gets Rigon, can start the wrap. Synopsy there with the SMG, keeps it in at evens, dishing out some damage to Lucky as well as GXX re-aggresses. 2 players caught at brackets, but the bomb has been evaded. Runs into Exercise, spots him, but both players with their backs turned. Lucky gets caught, Exercise challenges, and GXX gets the most important quadra of this game.
There we go. That's what we've come for. B&E really standing tall with their AW MVP player. And when you think about the early starts, the 2 picks that came through from the brackets control, the 5-on-3 situation that he had, that seemed like that was going to be the one to wrap this game up, to wrap the series in a 2-0. Instead, GXX holds the fort, finds so much impact, and even when he realized that he's got aggressive towards short, they're still not able to punish him.
Run boost for GXX. Now towards that stairs position. The taps through from Afro, hoping he can put the bullets down range. But not finding anything. B&E a passive. HEET don't have any control. No control over the map, the man advantage, or the weapon advantage here.
One of the most passive rounds we've seen from B&E. Both Rigon and Synopsy are, rather than maintaining the half-wall control or the sandbags, have actually gone back quite defensive. They're going to rotate Synopsy back over towards A and play a 4-man stack. Plenty of util to follow here for HEET, and it does shape itself up for a B-site Xe.
Slowly but surely. Leaning into the B site. Rigon will be there at the coffin's control. Synopsy's SMG ready to receive them. Smoke sent down. Molotov sent over. Flashes over. Here they come. Swing, spray. Doesn't get much body. None does be spotted towards the back site here. Rigon at least has the information to work with. Bomb plant can be secured. Lucky could be denied, but the spray goes awry. Synopsy's forced back the same.
Afro and Exercise have got top banana control, so at least they know that all the rotates are coming through from spawn.
Fire, they're ready for Flatro. Puts it back, nades in towards backside as well, but no one's in the backside. Jocko gets the kill. Rigon's so blind. Jocko with a double and a triple, in fact. Senna, awkward spray comes up. A 3-on-2, and Exercise is flanking them. So are the rest of the T-side forces. Someone's got to get on the bomb right now. GXX with a double. Another recovery. Afro pushed out of the site. Needs to get his 1 dig, but GXX gets 3, and Bad News Eagles 5-9.
Oh my goodness, did he overcomplicate that? That's what I'm wondering to myself. We actually saw Exercise and Afro holding the top banana control. Afro goes all the way around from banana down to mid, right back through CT to come through the backstab, and then of course HEET want to regroup all together, and it comes down to the stance of them just not being in a position to fight for the bomb territory.
Bad News Eagles. Their aggression works out well for them this time. For 9 on the board for pistols on the HEET side. Upgrades on an eco basis. And we'll look towards round 25 with the guns. A nade placement perfect on 3.
This should be the sitter. This is the one that B&E want to gain as much confidence forward, keep everybody alive. It's going to be the Apps pop.
Here they come. Flatro and Senna on the crossfire. Senna does get overwhelmed by Lucky. Once again, the Tech 9 doing work. Haven't checked mini pit though, and Flatro has the perfect angle on the bomb carrier. Gets the kill. Body will get down to the site, try and look for the plant himself. As Exercise caught out to the backside, as Afro dealt with on shore. They get the bomb plant bonus here, at least for the T-side line. Do some significant damage to the CT forces as well. An expensive round, but it's one that goes the way of B&E.
Very expensive round, and now you start wondering how close that instant reset is. Money's not flourishing as of right now for B&E. They're on single round loss bonus, or no round loss bonus, I should say, just the 1400. Even worse. HEET getting a lot out of that round. Even that bomb plant Exercise fighting through to those rotators towards Moto. 4 rounds the difference, but HEET know one good round here, and it could turn into a very quick another one.
Follow up to the reset. As you mentioned, loss bonus is 0 for Bad News Eagles. HEET know that they've got no real savings, having taken so many weapons away in the last few rounds. The damage done as Lucky gets GXX. Edge of the smoke, taps to the headshot. HEET start things off.
Just a straight spam in that one. Didn't actually have the idea that GXX was that aggressive. Lucky down to 3 HP, has not dropped to the util. And for B&E, what's the response? You got both Flatru and Scenario playing around the quad position on A. Synopsy's going to regroup over. Rigon's going to play solo on B.
An AWP and an M4 to play with. We'll get those weapons back to the backside. Take shot, go back to the automatic and defend from there. He might not have to do that. HEET are playing to the A play.
They've got to try and stall for time, hold on to their util late into the round. Another apps pop. There's only actually one person in the A site. Both Synopsy and Flatro are at long.
Tenable holds. Smokes down. Flatro making his way back up center. In the middle of the smoke. Gets Jocko sprayed down to nothing. 4-on-4. Exercise gets a response, but they have a player on the box and a player up towards long. Meanwhile, Rigon rotates for the orb. Synopsy gets caught. Body. Similar story. 3-on-2 with Exercise's initial frag. Flatro trying to hold for as long as he can. Molotovs towards the side. Don't extend towards him. He starts burning. And Afro gets his kill. It's Rigon in the 1v3. No flash support. The fuse kit on him. No util support in general, actually. Standing in the smokes as Afro will look for the bomb plant here, but Rigon to be so quick to try and respond. Lucky catches him, and it's map, match, and tournament point for HEET.
And look at when they've done it, Jay. Just when we were entertaining the idea of a reset, they are crippled. They are so limited with the economy management right here for BNE. How much that eco only 2 rounds ago has now affected them. And for HEET, if there was any chance, Jay, to close it, if there was that one round you're looking for, it's got to be this one.
Well, 5 map points, so they can't get it out here. Force buy for BNE, sees Deagles on 3, SMG and a FAMAS. And the Frenchmen are close to being the first team to qualify for the Elisa Masters. What it's all about in 2-0 fashion. Bad News Eagles are 4 hard to bring back their very awkward start here. But Jocko leaning in will gain Apartment's control.
All about the pressure. A lot of players down on this A site as of right now. Nothing aggressive in towards that brackets position. It's actually the majority of CTs grouped up on the short side.
Synopsy's Deagle. Not looking to aggress into Apartments. It was out there in the balcony thinking of it. 4-man stack towards the A site. And Rigon stands alone towards B. Utility is thrown down as Exercise tries to indicate some sort of A execution, which could still be on the cards here. 50 seconds. Jocko swings, sees 1 and 2. Doesn't quite get 3. Exercise gets 2 instead. It's 2 Deagles standing for Bad News Eagles to stop HEET from gaining the tournament right here, and Rigon is about to get sandwiched.
Even Exercise slow walking it, playing the contact, and Rigon's taking away from his post, going further away towards a construction position, give him an angle to fight towards CT, but Exercise is going to win it. It's all down to Synopsy now.
With surely no chance in a 1-on-4, he's grabbed an AK, but smokes towards his rotation angle, no kit in, a smoke, Lucky already covering off the position. The bomb will get planted. And the end surely is nigh for Bad News Eagles. Fought so valiantly up until this point. Looked like the stronger team coming into this final. But HEET resurging, burning brightly into the 2-0, the 16-10. They become champions of the Elisa Invitational Spring and the first team through the Invitationals to qualify for Elisa.